Hi, my name is Robert Chang, and this is my project on Azure ML. Basically, I wanted to use Azure ML to see if I can predict credit data. Banks, like to use machine learning to predict if people they lend money to are going to default or not. So let's get started. First, you sign in, and I'm signing in with my, regular Hotmail account. Anyone with the Microsoft account can automatically have Azure account, and it's free. So you sign into what's called the Machine Learning Studio. And you see here, I already have experiments set up. So I'm going to find my experiment. Then you click on it. And now my experiment's loading. And this is what my finished experiment already looks like. And we're going to walk through it. Save data sets are on the left. Obviously you have to load in data. It's just drag and drop technology. You can drag in whatever you want. Let me show you what the data looks like. I got it from the Kaggle website, and they use it for a Kaggle competition. Here's the data dictionary, and here's my target variable, serious delinquency, and it's a binary variable, either yes or no. Okay, so back to the experiment. Now we can kind of click around in some of the modules and look around. So here's my data module, and you can right-click and visualize it. And it gives you some nice summary statistics and histograms, on your data. Let's take a closer look at the visuals here. Like, for example, age. You have a nice histogram. They give you visuals on the right. Looks like a pretty well-defined variable. You can change that to a box plot if you want. Okay, now we want to edit some of the metadata. And again, we go to our menu on the right. And we go to data transformations, manipulation, and then edit metadata, again, drag and drop. And now we can right click on the metadata. We can visualize it again. It's going to be pretty similar to what was in the previous module because we didn't really change much, but the only thing we changed was to make the target variable categorical, and we made it into a label. You need to, tell Azure, what you want to make into a label. So now when we go to serious delinquency, which is my target variable, you can see it's now a categorical label. So that's all we did in that module. Now we can go to some of the data cleaning modules and drag and drop again, from the menu on the left. And now we can see exactly what I cleaned. And what I did was I set all missing values to be equal to the median value. So Azure has some data cleaning capabilities to impute missing values. Now when we visualize, we can see that some of the missing values have been filled in. If you go to monthly income, no missing values in monthly income. However, if we go back to the top to our original raw data set, and we visualize that, now we go to monthly income, and it has a lot of missing values. So we successfully eliminated all the missing values in our data set. We can summarize the data and look at some more in-depth statistical functions. So we're using the summarize data module. And again, they give you, nice kind of location statistics, mode, max, min. And we can use that to see if there's anything else that needs to be cleaned. We actually have a lot of outliers, a lot of really high max values. So I go to the clip values module. And what I do here is I make sure all my ratios are between 0 and 1. And then here in my other clip values module, I clip everything at the 95th percentile on the top side. So that will remove any extreme outliers from my data set. And then now I visualize the output from that. And now our histograms look much nicer. We don't have any extreme outliers. The data looks very nice and orderly, and it's ready to be modeled. We can look at, drill down in a couple variables, revolving credit lines. It looks nice and, well distributed. It looks reasonable. Number of open credit lines. The data looks ready to go. So now we need to create models. Actually, no, before we do that, we need to split the data. So we need to split it up into test and training sets, and I chose a 75%, 25% split. And now you see I have 2 output nodes on my split data module. And now I'm going to initialize my model in the machine learning menu, and I go to classification models. And again, you can drag and drop in, any model you want. I chose random forest and logistic regression. So there are my random forest parameters. Here are my logistic regression parameters. And now we're ready to train our models and score our models. So to do that, there's score and train modules again in the menu on the left. We can drag and drop them in. And you see the way I set it up. You have to set the, remember you split it up the data into 75-25 for training and testing. You have to connect the training node to the train module, connect the test node to the test module, and just make sure that the correct data is being input into the correct module. Okay, now I can evaluate my models, and I'm evaluating them by looking at the ROC curve, the ROC, receiver operating characteristic. And it'll give me stats on the accuracy, on the recall, true positive, false positives, etc. I can lower my threshold to lower my accuracy but get more recall. The default is 50%. And I can also evaluate my models side by side. So now I can see which is performing better, random forest or logistic regression. And you can see that logistic regression is actually the better performing model as defined by the area under the ROC curve. That's 92% accuracy, 26% recall. That's actually a bad recall number. I should really lower the threshold to get a higher recall. Again, you can see the comparison in the ROC curve. And then after that, I want to visualize my results. And I don't want to use the Azure built-in visualizations. I want to use my own custom visualization that I'm building in R. So I just kind of copied my experiment to do my visualization. And I'm opening up that right now. And I wrote an R script. Now, Azure has extensions in a Python and R. So I drag in and execute our script module, and then I can write R code inside Azure. And you see that I'm setting up my own visualization that I already tested in R. I'm importing a library called PopBio to help me with my visualization. Now, PopBio is not already pre-installed in Azure. So what I did there was I had to save the package. I had to drag in the package to make sure that Azure recognized that this R package was there before I could run my visualization. And now let's take a look at the visualization. It's going to be on the node on the right. The node on the left is a data set. The node on the right is any visuals coming out of your R script. I right click on that. I visualize. And here is my nice R visualization in Azure. Okay, now I want to deploy my model on the web. You can see why this would be useful. Maybe people want to use your model. You want your model, stored, on the internet that people can access. So Azure has very nice web services. I already created a web service, so let's load that up. And to do that, I had to go back and save my model from the previous experiment. So you do that. So let's go back actually to the experiments. So you see on the left, I had my model saved already under trained models. And the way I did that, if we go back to my original experiment, remember that we decided that logistic regression was a more accurate model. So I right-click on the model for logistic regression, I save it, and now it appears in my menu on the left as a trained model. And now I can drag that model into other experiments if I want to. So I go back to web services, and here's the configuration for the web service. You can see they provide you the API key. I can also test my web service, through the Azure app. So I hit the button for test. It already gives you a schema. I just have to put in my data now. So, this guy is 25 years old. He's been late 3 times. Let's just give him some, low debt ratio. Let's give him a high monthly income. And you just kind of fill in the rest of the variables. Okay, and he has 2 dependents. All right, and now we hit the check box, and now I should get a response, and there it is. He has a 75% chance of defaulting, and that's how the web service works. I can also create an API, and I'm going to do that in R. And the great thing about Azure is that they pre-generate code for you, so you don't have to, write it yourself. So if you go down to the configuration again, they give you some sample code, and I want to do it in R. So here's the R sample code. And now I can copy and paste this code into my, local, R console. So here's R Studio, and I just copied it in. And now I can run the code, locally, and it will call the web service, and it will return a result. And this particular borrower, I put in actually two borrowers, so 99% chance of default and a 9% chance of default. That's it. That's my project on Azure ML. Thank you very much.